Let me show you a great A/B testing workflow that you can use to dial in tones, and it will work with any multi-effects unit, or even if you just have a looper on your board, it will work. Now this is a recreation of what I would do with an HX Stomp and an HX Effects. I'm actually cheating. This is Helix Native, but we're gonna do it anyway because you'll get the gist. Just imagine this top signal chain is my HX Effects, and imagine this bottom one is my HX Stomp. Now the looper is disabled because for some reason Helix Native won't let you use a looper, but the whole signal chain started with a looper. It actually ended with a looper too. When I made this, it won't let me put a looper there. So just pretend there's a looper right here as well. I would sit with my HX Effects on my desk. The first thing I would do is take my target tone. In this case, it would be my Les Paul. I would run my Les Paul with all this stuff off, with whatever is going on here. I would engage the looper that you're pretending is right here. I would record the sound of the parts with my Les Paul so that I could check them, the Stratocaster, against them and bridge the gap. You could also do this with your regular old recording software, but I can't because I'm literally recording with it right now, so I can't show you how that works. So after I get the reference tone with my Les Paul, I would unplug the Les Paul, plug in what I'm trying to make sound like the Les Paul, in this case a Stratocaster or Silver Sky. That's where I would record a dry guitar tone with the looper in the front of the signal chain in the HX Effects. I would use the one switch looper because that would keep my other 5 or 6 switches available for these EQs to test them. So in this case, our reference clean tone would be something like this. And I wouldn't have to sit there and play it the whole time. It would just keep playing and playing and playing and playing while I go to this EQ, season to taste, go to this EQ, season to taste, you know, turn this one off, turn it back on. I wouldn't do this on my computer. I would have the pedals on my desk and I would press that button and it would switch from this EQ to that EQ. And then I would press it again, it would switch back until and I would change something. Now I don't really use the HX Stomp or the HX Effects anymore. I use a Kemper. And you could do the same thing with the Kemper. You would just set your looper in the Kemper to be input as far as placement's concerned. Let me show you in the settings where you do that. So here's our Kemper. You're gonna press settings and you're gonna be on page 12. So this is page 13, you go to page 12. If you do not own a Kemper remote, this will be grayed out, but it will still work. And that button on the top right, loop L, is loop output. You wanna press that, and now it's going to be loop input. So what the looper records is going to be dry without any effects. Now in this case, if I just had my Kemper and I didn't have another looper to give me my reference tone, I would use my GarageBand to record my reference tone. That would be no problem. If I had my Stomp back, then I could just use the Stomp with the Kemper. It would work exactly as with the Megazord rig. If you don't have any multi-effects units, but you do own a looper pedal, you could use your looper pedal for the dry signal and then use GarageBand or whatever on your computer for the reference signal. And honestly, even if you didn't have a looper pedal, if all you had was your computer and an interface, you could do this with just that. You could record a dry guitar signal and then just reamp it and do everything that way. You could just record your reference guitar tone, then record a dry guitar tone, and then reamp it and season to taste to make them kind of come together. So I ended up with 6 different EQs that I might use for a Stratocaster. Here's the shelf. I don't use that a whole lot anymore, but it was the first one. And I really just copied John Nathan Cordy, and I probably changed this parameter here, the low frequency. I don't remember what his was. After a lot of A/B testing, I ended up with